So one of the things we've been talking about kind of off air, and just as a quick discussion, is Friday night matches versus the Saturday afternoon kick-off at 3. It's a big thing that we notice in Newry. For people that don't know, Newry is obviously a massive shopping town. On a Saturday here, 2 shopping centres. The towns are packed. The roads are packed with people coming into the town to do shopping. We have a local football league called the Caribbean League. All the boys who would maybe come down, that they're friends with the players here, they would maybe come down to midweek games. They can't come on Saturdays, so we lose out an awful lot of crowds. And at the weekend, the Mallards game, there was maybe as many here as there was at Queen's away the weekend before. When you compare that to Ards 2 weeks beforehand, on the Friday night where we had about 700 or 800, which is good numbers for us.
Yeah.
Is there, are we right in saying that we should have a move to Friday night football? Does it work? Is it something that we should be looking at going forward?
Well, I think as a club we certainly have been. We've been probably at the forefront of playing Friday night football, as much as any other club. We're prepared to. Certain clubs will not play Friday nights or don't like playing Friday nights. They don't want to play Sundays either. We've tried them all, in order to increase attendances, increase the buzz about the club, and the club has to, and the committee and the people who are involved in making those decisions have to get an awful lot of credit for it. In my opinion, it's an absolute no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it doesn't overlap with the sort of GAA season, it allows our sort of Friday nights to be free. People can come down under the floodlights. It generally is. There's something. Players like to play under the floodlights. Mark Kelly, I remember coming off after scoring that goal against Ards on the Friday night, saying, "This is the reason I signed for this club." He says, "A packed showgrounds and scoring under the floodlights." He says, and when you're ever getting players so enthusiastic about it, and you can see the attendance is there, I think it's something that we do look into. As far as I'm aware, the difference in being in the Premiership and the Championship is the Premiership, as long as you give sufficient notice, which I think is either 28 days or 14 days. I think maybe 14 days. You can just inform the opposition we're moving this game to a Friday night.
Yep.
And unless there are serious mitigating circumstances, the other club has to go for that. In the Championship, both clubs have to agree. So it means that if people think that we're maybe getting what they might envisage as a unfair advantage by playing on a Friday night, then they can just go, no, we're not coming on a Friday night. Most clubs, to be fair, and particularly without wanting to be patronising, clubs that aren't as big as us like coming down and playing in this ground under the floodlights.
Yeah.
We saw it in Mid-Ulster. Clubs falling over themselves to come here on a Friday night because we were playing under the floodlights, and it was an occasion. Obviously, the higher up the levels you go, it's not, we're all in and around the same standard, if you like. But the key for me is Caribbean League. Caribbean League is an institution, albeit it might be struggling a bit of late in comparison to recent decades.
But it's still pulling away 200 players every week.
Exactly, but that's the point. So they at this stage in their life, they aren't going to change their game times. Now there has been certain exceptions for maybe the odd cup final we've got into, and they have changed it, and they've worked with the club, and that's great. And the club certainly obviously thank them for that. The club has a good relationship with the Caribbean League as far as I know, but as you say, it takes away, particularly when we have a core of the vast majority of our squad are local guys, it takes away their friends, maybe some of even their families, who are going and playing football themselves. You can't deny people the right to go and play their own football, but they should be given the opportunity to do both. And if that means us moving, if it means then that you get more of those families down, more of those friends of players, more fair weather fans, if you like, people who are loose end on Friday night, really those guys that really want to go shopping with their missus on a Saturday afternoon, because I know there's thousands of them, but it allows them to have their Saturdays free and to do what they want. But you come down to Friday night, the atmosphere is better. The prime example was our 2 most recent home league games. The Ards one, which you touched on, great attendance, fantastic atmosphere. We come up 1-0 down to win 2-1. Place is buzzing. Ballinamallard last week, 3-0. Now, nothing to do with the performance, but I think the performance was the result of the lack of atmosphere, or certainly had a part of it. So from that regard, I think if we had the vast majority of our home games, obviously we can't control what away teams want to do, but if we could have the vast majority of our home games under lights on a Friday night, then absolutely go for it. I'm 100% behind it.
Yeah, I even think from a business point of view as well for the club, it means, if you can get people through the gates, and at the level that we're at, everybody's entrance money keeps the lights on next week, or it pays to get the grass cut, or it pays for the kits to be washed. That's what we're talking about here. Yeah. We're stretching every budget, and every single club's the same. So it's important for us to get those. And when we were in the Premiership, we pushed for Friday night games an awful lot. Yeah. And I remember being a wee bit annoyed at times, thinking, that's my weekend routine gone. I don't have my Saturday outing as such. Mm-hmm. But then when I looked at it from a point of view, it's like, it's far better for the players. Every night feels special when they're under the lights, and we advertise them as the Friday night lights. It's a big thing. Yeah. So it's something that I would like to see. Maybe the clubs buying into in this league. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be great to finish work on a Friday and head away off to Ballycarra, but they've got no lights. But to head off somewhere else and actually have a good Friday night out and maybe enjoy ourselves.
Well, I think the other thing about it is that you have the Premiership games that are on a Saturday. I mean, for the vast majority of the home games that we've had here on a Friday night this season already, you've seen people from other clubs coming down. You've seen a lot of Warren Point representatives coming down just to watch a game of football. Yeah. And it's only a few miles on the road. You've seen the likes of David Healy and Ross Oliver, the Linfield management team, coming down to watch now. I think they're watching John McGovern. You can piss off David. He's not going anytime soon. But I mean, they're coming down and seeing what your team's about. They were down at the Ards game. Mm-hmm. There are, I know Stephen Hines, I think, who's in the youth development that used to play for Loughgall and Glavin, youth development Portadown, if I'm correct. He was down for one of those games. So you get that. You get other football people who maybe wouldn't think of coming down or weren't able to come down to the showgrounds on a Saturday. So as you said, it's all money through the gate. When it comes into the winter months, for however much it costs to turn on the floodlights here, we're going to be turning them on for a 3 o'clock game on a Saturday anyway. Because,
yeah, absolutely.
It's going to get dark by half time, and we're going to have to turn them on. So, even that aspect, it's not going to make any financial impact. So everything is just going to benefit us.
Well, as you said, not only are we competing with the Caribbean League, shopping in the town, parents taking kids to do whatever they have to do, people just generally being busy on Saturdays or working. We have the Premier League and all the bars in town showing the games generally, and Newry would be massive supporters of both Man United and Liverpool. Mm-hmm. We have to contend with that too. So it's hard enough running a football club, and never mind on a Saturday afternoon when there's 100 people here, and it's kind of like, how do we keep this going?
Well, if you look at the League of Ireland, and I appreciate they play a summer season per se. I mean, it's not really. It's February to November. I mean, the bulk of it is in the summer, but you're still playing in dark months, and 99% of their matches are. I mean, you don't do Saturday 3 o'clock matches. Yeah. So there's a reason for that. There's a reason why their clubs are. They get bigger attendances. Even clubs of the same level as us, or who would have been the same level of us, have now levelled up because they're getting more money in because of bigger attendances. They're able to get better players and gradually improve incrementally year on year. So, I'm not necessarily advocating summer football. I think that's a whole other discussion, and I'm still not convinced about it. There are pros and cons for it. I do think Friday, and to be honest with you, Sunday football when it suits. And if that's something that needs to be much more carefully thought out, because you are going to have your Super Sundays on, and people, it's a drinking day, and people, it's also a family day. Sundays around this area, certainly. But we need to, we do constantly look at, changing the way we think and doing something unique at this club. There's never been, I don't think, a lack of trying. And trying to do something different, and long may that continue, because it's paying dividends at the moment. My first port of call would be management and players. If the management and players say we're playing Loughgall this weekend, do you want, or in 3 weekends time, do you want to play on a Friday night or do you want to play on a Saturday? And if the vast majority say we want to play on a Friday night, then we contact them and say we want to play on a Friday night. They are, as much as the supporters are a huge part of the club, if from a mindset perspective, if it suits the players and the management better, do it. Yeah. And if they're going out with a good mindset and winning games, then the supporters come back. And the supporters come here in the numbers, which they've done already for even games.
Well, just in closing, I think that Newry as a club is a sleeping giant. probably with more potential than Larne in a way, because we're a bigger city, and there's a lot more like little villages and towns that kind of come into Newry. We're the hub. We're such a hub for sport here. And I think if we get it right and we get the fans on board on Friday nights and give them every opportunity to come down, there's no reason why we can't be drawing a couple of thousand a games potentially. I think that's what we need to be looking at in the future is, you know, in 3 or 4 years time, how do we get 2,000 or 3,000 people to a game again? And I saw a clip the other day on the BBC archives of Linfield versus Newry Town, and it was 7,000 people were down here for that game. It was the first game back in Premiership, and Ollie Ralph scored, and 7,000 people. And I remember just thinking, that needs to be the goal. How do you get to that point again? How do you get everybody to buy into what you're doing? And wee steps like that will help.
Well, I think it's going that direction, and I think that you know, once we get back to the Premiership, we keep building on what we have, then you know it's only going one way, so long may it continue.
Yeah, make sure and click like and subscribe on all the videos here to follow all of the latest news that is coming out, little documentaries and the latest podcasts.